It's 3:47 a.m. Your eyes are open, and that little voice starts like, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I just sleep?" Nothing's wrong with you. Your body is doing something very specific at 3 a.m. And once you see it, you can change it.
Welcome to the True Wellness Podcast with Dr. Z, where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. Z, and each week I will bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey right away. Now, let's get started.
It's 3:47 in the morning, and your eyes are wide open, and you didn't decide to wake up. You just did. Like someone flipped a switch. The house is quiet. Everyone else is asleep. And your brain has chosen this exact moment to come fully and completely online. You know, tomorrow's to-do list, the thing you said in the meeting back in 2009, the bills, your kid, the weird noise your car is making, all of it. It's like crystal clear and at a volume going on in your brain that you can't turn down. And here's the part that actually hurts. It's not even like being awake that's the worst of it. It's the second layer. It's the part where you lie there like staring at the ceiling, doing the math on like how many hours you have left to fall asleep, how much time you're going to get if you go to bed right now. And underneath that, there's like a quieter, meaner thought. It's like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just sleep like a normal person? Everyone else is asleep. What is going on with me? And if that's you, if you know that exact ceiling that I'm talking about, that exact time on the clock, I want you to hear this. What's happening to you at 3 a.m. is not random. It's not even insomnia the way that you've been told to think about it. And it's not a character flaw. It's not a willpower problem. It's not evidence that there's something wrong with you. It's none of that. It's actually your body is doing something very specific. And there's a sequence behind it, like a chain of events with a clock attached. And once you understand what that chain actually is, the 3 a.m. wake up, it stops being this mysterious nightly betrayal and actually starts being something that you can finally read. So that's what today's episode is about. Let's get into it. So let's start with all the advice that you've already gotten, because I bet you've tried most of it. And I want to explain why it mostly hasn't worked. Right? Maybe someone told you, hey, take some melatonin. Someone told you, hey, put your phone down. I mean, I tell that to my clients all the time. I full disclosure, those things are sometimes appropriate, right? Maybe somebody told you cut the caffeine, but also to have a glass of wine to relax. But actually, you don't have the wine. And depending on which expert you ask that week, you know, that you get something else. Go buy blackout curtains, you know, download the app. And my personal favorite, quite frankly, the one that the one that should get the award. Are you ready? If you're waking up at 3 a.m., just try to relax. Yeah. And then, you know, it's as if you'd be lying there at like 3 o'clock in the morning for like 6 months. And you just simply never thought of this calm, right? Like just be calm. You never thought of giving it a shot. So, or it's as if like the fix, it's been sitting there the whole time and you just didn't get around to it, right? Not quite, right? Here is why most of that advice, here's what it misses. Almost all of it is aimed at one of two things, right? Either helping you fall asleep in the first place or covering up the symptom with something. But your phone isn't falling asleep. You fall asleep, maybe, okay, so let me take a step back, okay? So if your problem isn't falling asleep, okay, maybe you fall asleep just fine. And a lot of women, they do, they'll fall asleep just fine, and then they're the ones who wake up at 3 a.m. and then they're exhausted enough that going to sleep was never the issue, right? So they can just get into bed and be out like a light. So the issue is staying asleep, not just falling asleep. Okay. So specifically, it's like you're getting yanked out of that deep sleep in the early morning. And that's a completely different mechanism than trouble falling asleep. So falling asleep and staying asleep, they are completely different. And almost none of the standard advice is really aimed at those people who are having trouble actually staying asleep. Okay. And that's what we want to dive into. And like the melatonin thing is a perfect example because it shows the whole misunderstanding in a little bottle, right? Melatonin, it helps to set the timing of when you get sleepy at night. Okay. It's not the thing that's keeping you up at 3 a.m. But what happens is by the time 3 a.m. comes, like melatonin is clocked out. It did its shift hours ago and then it went home. So taking more melatonin to fix that sleep problem with waking up at 3 a.m., it's just kind of like turning up the thermostat because the smoke alarm went off, right? It doesn't make any sense. So I understand the impulse. It's just a completely different thing, right? It's like a completely different appliance in a completely different part of the house. So if you've been quietly collecting evidence that you're a hopeless case and you're always going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe you've tried all the supplements, maybe you've tried the blackout curtains, you've tried the app, and you're still up at 3 a.m. I want to take this off your shoulders right now because the reason that none of it has worked, it's not that there's something wrong with you or that your case is like special in some way. It's that all of the things that you've tried have been aimed at the wrong moment in the night. You see, to fix the 3 a.m. wake up, you have to understand what your body is actually doing at 3 a.m. So let's go there. Okay. So here's the chain of events. I'm going to walk you through it one link at a time, because when you see when you see the whole thing laid out, the wake up actually begins to make a lot more sense. So start with this. Your sleep is not one flat block of unconsciousness. Okay. It moves in cycles, and the shape of the night changes, as it goes on. So the first half of the night is really weighted toward your deepest, most physically restorative sleep. I always tell my clients, be in bed asleep from 10 to 2, right? Key and critical. 10 to 2. So those of you who are staying up till midnight or 1 a.m., like, not good. 10 to 2. Okay. So that first part of the night is for that deep healing, that deep restoration. Okay. Now, the second half of the night, that's the early morning hours, that's the part that things begin to shift. Okay. Where like starting to get lighter outside. So your sleep is getting lighter, and maybe you have more dreaming, and that matters, right? Because in the early morning, you're simply like, you're closer to the surface of waking up. So you are easier to wake. So whatever it is that's going to disturb you, this is the moment where it can actually happen. So now let's take a layer of hormones and stick that into that chain here. So overnight, your body runs on this rhythm. And in that deep early part of the night, your cortisol, that's the thing that keeps you alert, right? That's like your get up and get going hormone. It is meant to be at its lowest during that early part of the night. Okay. And then in the hours before you wake up, in the hours before dawn, it actually begins to start to rise and climb. This is what it is supposed to do, right? It goes down and then it goes up. And that morning rise in cortisol is what's going to wake you up gently. It's what's going to get you out of bed like in a few hours. It's like warming you up. It's normal. It's healthy. It's when it's happening the way that it's supposed to, right? It comes down so you fall asleep and it starts to come up so that you wake up and you feel energized in the morning. Okay. Low in the night, rising toward the morning. Now, here's where it goes sideways. So if your nervous system is dysregulated, stress anybody, if you've been running on survival mode, right? You're wired, you're tired, your stress is like turned on for months or years, right? What happens is that cortisol curve right there, it doesn't say like nice and smooth. Instead of that gentle climb in the morning, you get like an early sharp spike. And that alerting hormone, it like surges hours before it's supposed to, hence your 3 a.m. So, I mean, imagine the timing. It's like you're floating in this shallow end of your sleep and you're in that easy to wake part, right? Right up at the surface. And then right then your body like fires off a shot like, up, time to get up and go. And that hormone spikes up. And it's as if someone is setting off an air horn like 2 inches from you. And you're like, whoa, right? You don't stand a chance. Your eyes are open and it's 3:47 a.m. and you're not going back to bed. Okay. Now, there's often a second character in this story. So I want to be really clear about that. The second character in this story is blood sugar. So you got cortisol and you got blood sugar. So through the night, your body it's quietly keeping your blood sugar nice and stable while you're not eating. And for a lot of women, especially in midlife, especially when things are already dysregulated, that overnight blood sugar management, it becomes less and less stable. Okay. So now what happens is your blood sugar can begin to dip in the early morning. And a blood sugar dip it's something your body reads as a problem to solve. Your body's like, nope, we're not going to let your blood sugar dip. So what does it do? It releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring that blood sugar right back up, which is the same surge of alerting chemistry that we just talked about. So the two mechanisms, both of them, the cortisol and the blood sugar, they kind of like, they play together. So the dip triggers the stress hormones, they wake you up. Okay. Now, the piece that ties it all together too, and that's the part really where we work, right? Why does your body treat all of this as an emergency worth waking you up for? Think about that. Because a dysregulated nervous system is by definition stuck in a threat mode. So it's learned to treat something that's like an ordinary fluctuation. It's learned to treat it like danger. So that normal early morning cortisol rise, right? A normal little dip in blood sugar in a settled nervous system, right? You sleep right through those. But in a nervous system that's been living in survival mode, those same signals, they're read as like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. Wake up, be alert, scan. Where's the threat? Find the threat, right? And that's why your brain, it doesn't just wake you. It wakes you up like immediately, right? And it pulls up the worst possible playlist in your head. So the bills, the kids, the things you said in the meeting, right? Back in 2009, because it's not waking you up to enjoy the quiet or admire the ceiling. No, it's waking you up to find the threat. So it has thoughtfully gone and dug up every candidate it could find. So the racing mind isn't the cause of the wake up. That racing mind, it's actually the consequence of being woken up, okay, in that threat state. So your brain thinks that it's helping you. It is the world's most overqualified assistant for sure. And it's like it's handing you a folder full of all of your problems at 3 a.m. And not one of them, by the way, can actually be solved at 3 a.m. So here we are. So we put the whole chain together, right? Light sleep in the early morning, so you're easy to wake up. That early cortisol spike, maybe a dip in your blood sugar that's pouring more fuel onto that cortisol spike, perhaps. And then you have a nervous system that's primed to read all of it as danger, 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 danger. So it pulls you to the surface. And when you get there, it hands you a list of things to worry about. That is the 3 a.m. wake ups. They're not random. They're not insomnia in the way that you pictured it. There's actually this very exact sequence that we just went through. So here's what I want you to actually take from this train, because it's not just biology trivia that I'm giving you. It changes what it means when you're waking up at 3 a.m. because most people have been treating that 3 a.m. wake up as proof that there's something wrong with them. And I want you to actually flip it around, because if the wake up is proof that your body, it's actually doing your job. That's what it's doing. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's doing what it has the information to do. So it's not that your alarm system is broken. Honestly, it's like your body's overachieving is what it's doing. It's so committed to keeping you safe that it's willing to haul you out of a dead sleep over a perfectly normal little dip in blood sugar. Okay. That's not a malfunction. That's a protection system working just a little bit too hard. So the problem itself is not the alarm. There's nothing wrong with the alarm itself. It's that the alarm is set to too sensitive. It's going off for things that were never real emergencies. And that's a profoundly different problem than I'm broken and I can't sleep, right? There's something wrong with me. I can't sleep, because you don't fix an oversensitive alarm by yelling at it or shaming it, or by lying there at 3 a.m. in the morning, furious at yourself. You fix it by helping the system feel safe enough to actually turn that sensitivity right back down. And that, that settling of the nervous system there, that nervous system that's stuck in high alert, if you can settle it, that is something the body actually knows how to do when you give it the right conditions. So this is the thing I come back to in everything that I teach. Your body is not working against you. It's not. Even the symptom that's costing you your sleep is actually your body trying to protect you, right? The fatigue, the racing mind, the 3 a.m. eyes open, those are not betrayals of your body. They're signals that your system is doing its best to keep you safe with the settings that it currently has. Now, if we change the settings, then the signal actually begins to change. So you're not trying to force your body to sleep. You're trying to convince it that it is safe too. So no, you're not a bad sleeper, right? Your body's doing what it's supposed to do. You're not a person whose alarm system has been turned up too high for too long. That's what's happening. And so it's waking you at the lightest, most vulnerable hour of the night. And alarm systems can be turned back down. That's what we want. And that's the whole idea behind something I'll mention now, and I'll come back to at the end of this. So if you want to help that alarm system settle, by the way, I invite you to jump into, I built this, we found a real need for our clients in our practice, and we built this 21-day nervous system calibration to kind of walk you through day by day, every day, just a little action each day. And that will start to restore your nervous system. So it's easy, you guys. It's free. You can actually go to our website, because I think it'll be helpful for those of you who are waking up at 3 a.m. for all the reasons we spoke to. But it's www.go southbaywellness.com/calibration. So go.southbaywellness.com/calibration. And we'll have a link to it in the show notes, of course. But hold that thought, okay? Let's get really practical here, because I want to give you real things to work with in addition to that nervous system calibration. I want to be clear, okay? This is education. The same things I want any woman to understand about her body. This is not a protocol, right? I'm not putting you on a protocol. None of this replaces like working with someone who knows the full picture of your health. But with that said, here's where the leverage actually is. And notice if it happens at 3 a.m. So the first reframe is practical. Don't fix the 3 a.m. wake up at 3 a.m. No, by then the surge it's already taken place. And so if you're trying to do something at 3 a.m., then you're just managing the aftermath. The real work is actually what you do in the daytime, in the evening, lowering your baseline so that there's no longer having those big surges. And when you do that, then your system is going to be less primed to panic. So how do you do that? There's 4 places I want you to look. So number 1, your daytime nervous system. This is the big one, and it's the least obvious. So how wired are you at 3 a.m.? How wired you are has a lot to do with how wired you were at 3 p.m. Haha, right? So a nervous system that ran in full sympathetic overdrive all day, going, no pauses, no breaks, lurching from one thing to the next, like kind of on adrenaline. It doesn't just flip into a calm space because you got into bed. You're asking it to like take a complete U-turn that it's never even practiced. So building a genuine downshift, building some specific moments to downshift during the day. And that means like, yes, actual pauses, taking breaths, stepping outside. And everybody can find these things to do. We have a lot of very busy executive women in our practice, and they still manage to do these things. Okay. Anything that you can do that tells your body that it's safe to come out of overdrive is what you want to be doing during the day. It's what changes the baseline, right? That alarm is working from. It's changing the baseline. Okay. And this is the heart of it. And it's exactly why the calibration that I mentioned before, that's why we built it. Okay. So that you can start to shift that baseline during the day. Now, number 2, the evening wind down. Not sleep hygiene as a checklist, no, but sleep hygiene as a signal. See, your nervous system reads the hour before bed to decide how safe it is for you to actually go to bed. So if that hour is doing emails, if it's doom scrolling, oh my gosh, it's such a trap. I know, been there, gotta like take myself out a lot of the time too. But doom scrolling, if you're having hard conversations, okay, or you've got bright light in your eyes all the time, you're actually telling your system to stay alert. So if there's a dimmer that you can put a dimmer on light, or wear blue light glasses, slower inputs, and something genuinely calming. If you're doing that for that hour before bed, then you're giving your body permission to stand down, right? You're not just relaxing. And a lot of times people relax by scrolling, or they relax by being in front of the TV, but these things are not relaxing to your nervous system. What you want to do is lower the threat, right? Before you even begin to close your eyes. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, we've got to talk about that blood sugar piece. Okay, so remember that overnight dip in your blood sugar, that can actually pour fuel onto the wake up, because it's a signal, and then your body sends out the cortisol and the adrenaline. For some women, how and when they eat in the evening actually makes a really big difference on how stable their blood sugar stays overnight. So I'm going to hand you, numbers. I'm not going to hand you numbers on the podcast, because the right approach Generally, I mean, it depends on you. But if your wake ups come with like a racing heart or like clammy, like adrenal feeling, it could be that the overnight blood sugar angle is worth paying attention for you. Okay. And worth raising with someone who can look at the specifics and look at your blood sugar in your blood sugar regulation. And that's really important. Okay. Number 4, what do you do when you're actually awake? Because you will still have 3 a.m. nights while that like entire baseline is beginning to shift, while you're testing out, practicing, and doing these new things. But here's a trap that everyone falls into. They start like doing the math. If I fall asleep right now, then I'll get 4 hours and 15 minutes. No, wait, 4 hours and 10 minutes. Oh, 4 hours and 5 minutes. And just like that, like you've turned sleep into like a deadline, which as a strategy for relaxing, it's never once worked for a single human being. So never in the history of our species. So lying there like furious, fighting it, doing the math, all of that itself is like a stress response. So you're feeding the exact system that woke you up. The shift is actually to stop fighting. Okay. Not to like try harder to fall asleep, but to take the pressure off. Slow your breathing. Let the body rest, even if the mind won't. Take the threat out of being awake. It's a paradox, it's like if you make 3 a.m. less of an emergency, okay, that's part of what lets you drift back to sleep, because you're proving to your nervous system that being awake isn't a crisis. If you wake up and you're in that like anxious state, which I mean, you're trying to teach your body that it's safe, that it's okay to fall back asleep. Okay. And when you can do that over and over, whatever it takes, quiet your mind, take deep breaths, whatever it takes. If you do wake up at 3 a.m., that's where you want to start. It's not the time to get out of bed. It's not the time to do other things. Just be there in those moments. And over time, things will begin to shift. Okay. So that's 4 different things for you. Now, notice what all 4 of these have in common. Not one of them is a sleeping pill. Not one is a trick to try to knock you out. Not one of them is about taking anything. Every one of them is about lowering the overall loudness of your nervous system so that alarm, right? That alarm stops firing when you're in that lightened hour of sleep. So you're not forcing sleep. You're making your body feel safe enough to keep it. Okay. So let's come back to that ceiling. It's like 3:47, eyes open, quiet house, the racing mind. I want you to leave with a completely different story about that moment. It is not proof that there's something wrong with you. It's not insomnia that you're doomed for. It's an alarm system set too sensitive after too long in survival mode, pulling you to the surface at the hour that you're easiest to wake up. And then, of course, what is it doing? It's handing you that file folder full of worries, right? So that you have something to scan for. So your body, it's not failing you at 3 a.m. It's actually protecting you a little too well. Bad information. But the good news is that even if it doesn't feel like it at 3 a.m., because a system that's too sensitive, it can be settled. You can't force it to settle down, right? But by giving it day after day, the evidence that it's safe to calm down, to stand down, it's not a quick fix, and I'm not going to pretend that it is, but it is real and it is doable. And it starts with understanding what you now understand. So here's your one thing this week, right? The next time you wake up at 3 a.m., I don't want you to fight it. And I don't want you to beat yourself up. I want you to do the one thing instead. Tell yourself the truth about what's happening. My alarm went off. There's no real emergency. My body's just being super careful right now. And then slow down your breath and let being awake be okay. And that one shift, right? That one shift from fury to understanding, that's you starting to teach your nervous system that it's safe. And that's where all of this begins. So again, I invite you guys, if you want a full version of that, like a guided day-to-day way to actually settle your nervous system that's been stuck, in high alert, that's what that 21-day nervous system calibration is set for. So it's free. You do a little thing, a little action every day. It's the most direct way to actually start turning the alarm back down. So you can go ahead and grab that. It's my gift to you. It's at go.southbaywellness.com/calibration. That's go.southbaywellness.com/calibration. It's in the show notes. Start there. Start tonight. And as always, thank you for spending this time with me. And the next time you're up at 3 a.m., remember, it's not a flaw. It's a signal. And now you know how to read that signal. So until next time, I'll see you then.
This is Dr. Z reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace your journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness Checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.